Should I just move back to New York? Alright guys, we are back. It is Tyler Bachulo, Tyler P, the place to be, licensed real estate agent here servicing Fort Lauderdale and the surrounding cities. In this video, we are going to go over if I have any regrets moving from New York to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Do you want to know what it's like to live down here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida? If so, hit that like and subscribe button. We are putting out new videos every single week showing you exactly what it is like to live down here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida and the surrounding cities. Alright, so let's get right into it. So basically, I was living in New York. I was selling real estate up there as well. I was doing well. I was having a successful career. And my parents always planted in the back of my mind that, eventually they wanted to move down here to the Fort Lauderdale area. And I was at the point in my career where if I stayed a little longer, I would have ended up, buying a house in New York. And, once you have a profitable business and you're making money in New York, it's kind of hard to leave. So I made the decision at 23 years old that I was going to pick up my real estate business, head down here to South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area, and, decide to make a life for myself here. I heard it all. I heard, don't go there, it's risky, you don't know anybody, yada yada yada, Florida's run down, it's God's waiting room, it's very slow, you can't make the same amount of money as you can in New York as in Florida, right? I heard it all. I blocked out all the noise and decided to, really jump into the fire per se, and I moved down. I remember when I first moved down, I moved into my first place, my father looked at me and said, Tyler, it is Africa hot here.
What kind of place is this?
I mean, it was August. It must have been the hottest day of the year. The humidity was hitting me. And I was thinking in my head like, oh my God, I guess what everybody was telling me about Florida, is true. All I was thinking was, I hope it's not this hot all year round. Like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? I'm in real estate. How am I going to wear dress shirts, suits? I'm going to be sweating, yada, yada, yada. So all it was is that it just happened to be a really hot summer day, but you do get those type of days in New York as well. Overall, the weather here, like I say all the time, it is 80 and sunny. The more closer to the coast you are, the more forgiving the heat is. The more inland, again, it gets a little bit hotter. But overall, you can bet on like 80 and sunny. And it's pretty comfortable. I mean, eventually you get used to the humidity and it's like nothing. But I will tell you, when you first move down here, that humidity will definitely hit you. I remember that I'm used to like New York where you roll your windows down and like you get some sort of breeze and like it feels good. In the summer, when you first get here, if you roll your windows down, you're going to be choking because the humidity is so damn hot. But eventually you get used to it. It balances out to like 80 and sunny with a slight breeze, pretty much throughout the year. Another thing a lot of New Yorkers told me when I was moving down here was that, Tyler, it rains all the time in Florida. Now, in the summer, I will say it does rain more often, and the rain intervals are usually about 30 minutes. It'll rain for 30 minutes, and then it'll go back to sunny. And then you might not have rain for another, couple days. The rain is more common in the summer, but again, it's like in these short 30-minute intervals. It's very rare in Florida, from what I've seen in my experience being here, that you get these full days of rain for, days on end, right? You don't really get that here in Florida. You do get that in New York sometimes, but typically, like, if it rains here, I found that it usually rains at night. So, when you're trying to sleep, you might hear some rainfall. Or, you're watching some TV or the news or whatever, you might hear some rainfall. For it to rain throughout the day in Florida, it does happen sometimes, but it's not always common. What you'll see is that maybe you'll get a little bit of rainfall throughout the day, and the clouds will be dark and you'll think it's going to rain all day, and out of nowhere everything clears up again and the sun comes back out. So the weather here is very forgiving. Again, overall, it really balances out to like 80 and sunny. That's what I would say, with occasional rain. Another thing that a lot of people told me when I was moving here was the bugs. Florida's very buggy, it's swampy, again, the humidity, you're going to be smacking mosquitoes off of you. I will be very, very transparent. I don't believe I've gotten one bug bite here in Florida. When I was living in New York, those summer nights on Long Island, you're swatting mosquitoes off of you left and right. Here in Florida, it's not really like that. And very surprisingly, it's not buggy here. So in Long Island, if you're driving on 231, Montauk Highway, Bell Parkway, anything like that, what you'll see on the side of the road is a lot of trash, litter, things like that. Here in Florida, we don't really get that. You'll see the towns outside picking up trash. The roads, the highways, they're very well kept. You'll see these beautiful palm trees. You'll see beautiful lakes as you're going over ramps and pass-throughs and things like that. And, pretty much overall, Florida is very well kept, and I would say definitely more, kept up than driving around New York. Now, when you go to the beach in Florida, you get some beautiful sand here on the East Coast, and you get beautiful clear water. I mean, I'm talking like Bahamas water. I remember that I would be, sitting at the beach in the water, and I would actually see little fish like swimming past my feet. You turn around and you're just looking at the entire skyline. Whether it's, Fort Lauderdale or Pompano or anything like that, you just see all these big high-rises, a beautiful beach, and the beaches are very well kept here. There's also usually a lot of restaurants or shops very close to the beach. Where in New York, I usually attended Robert Moses, and at Robert Moses, you had one shack that served a very subpar burger, subpar fries, no alcohol, and the beaches are, they're kind of dull, not much to do, and you go in the water, it's that mucky, dark water, it's cold, and I just don't want to go back there. I like my Florida beaches and the Florida water here. Summers on Long Island and New York City are very fun, right? You have the beach volleyball. Maybe you go down to one of the beach restaurants that are open. If you're walking down New York City, outdoor seating is now available. It's a great time, right? But in my opinion, that only lasts June, July, and August. People will argue with me on September. I'm not buying it, right? September, October, November, all you're thinking in your head is, oh my God, the cycle is coming. And what's the cycle? You're stuck in your house from October, November, December, January, February, March, April, and people will try to fight me on May. No, May is freezing and May is raining. I know everybody aims for Memorial Day as like that's the start of everything, but I remember last Memorial Day, a couple of my friends went out to Fire Island, New York, and they were freezing, right? So again, a lot of the times in New York, for the portion of your life, if you look at it, you're pretty much, locked in your house with not much to do, right? Down here in Florida, it is 24/7. I mean, down here in Fort Lauderdale, there is just so much to do. Down here in Fort Lauderdale, I play a lot of tennis. Another thing that I got into, which is so cool, is snorkeling. That is something that I can't even do in New York, right? Because you can't see anything underwater. And even if you go to the beach, you put on some goggles and you just swim out a little bit, you will see fish, and it is beautiful and surreal. Also, you can shoot down to other areas of Florida, and they have these snorkeling excursions, and it is just awesome. Again, you feel like you're on vacation. People jet ski here all the time. There are also so many places to fish, whether you're fishing in the Everglades, different lakes around here in Florida. If you're fishing right off the beach, right? There are so many fishing spots. What a lot of people do down here as well is they go kayaking, they buy the kayaks, they just, go out anywhere they want, or there are some state parks that rent out the kayaks to you. And again, it is just beautiful. You're kayaking through beautiful blue water. And again, amazing experience. A lot of people down here are also into photography because here in Florida, typically nothing dies. So it's pretty much, beautiful scenery all year round. You see a lot of photographer people, taking pictures of birds, flowers, owls, a lot of cool animals and wildlife that are out here in Florida. All year round here in Florida, you could take your boat out. Again, just imagine blue skies, 80 degrees, nice breeze. The water is just dead clear. You can even drop a fishing pole out there and you'll probably catch a nice sized fish that you can eat or bring to a local restaurant. It's really a different way of living here when it comes to the outdoor activities. So I remember going down just on a normal weekend to Deerfield Beach. I saw people outside playing some beach volleyball, and I just thought to myself, like, hey, you know, this is just another day in paradise, right? I can just shoot down here any weekend and just feel like I'm on vacation, watching people play volleyball, throw around the football, you know, jump in the water, relax, taking some sun at the beach. Just beautiful. Also, if you are into guns, we have outdoor shooting ranges here, indoor shooting ranges here. Very safe, very fun, very cool, and yeah. Here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, you're maybe 1 hour away from the Florida Keys. The Florida Keys, what a beautiful, amazing, surreal experience. I mean, people spend their whole lives trying to put money together to head down to the Florida Keys. If you live down here in Fort Lauderdale, all you have to do is hop in your car. The Florida Keys is just a different way of living. It's very relaxed, very slow, and you can go there any weekend you want. You know, you don't need this big special event to start living your life. So Disney World is about 3 hours away, and who doesn't like Disney, right? Again, Disney gives a discount if you are a Florida resident. You can just shoot up there one weekend, maybe stay a day or two, and shoot right back down. There's so many things you can do here like that. It is just awesome. Also, what's really cool here is in people's backyards and front yards, a lot of people have these fruit trees. I mean, I've seen banana trees, fig trees, papaya trees, cashew nut trees, avocado trees, mango trees, you name it. So orange trees, of course, lemon trees. So if you are into gardening, you know, into nature, into things like that, there is so much of that here. So let's talk about the cost of living. Let's just use, you know, $600,000. If you're going to buy a $600,000 house in New York, Long Island, right? It's just very hard to justify when you think that you could spend $600,000 down here. And not only will you get more house, the one thing that a lot of people don't talk about is you will have a better lifestyle here. Not only will things be cheaper, meaning again, you get more square footage, you know, less property taxes, but also the lifestyle you can live here is just tremendous. I mean, imagine just opening your back door, there's palm trees, a beautiful screened-in pool, you're on a waterway, you know, you see an iguana walk by. It is just like you're living the dream, right? In New York, I remember stepping out of my back door, looking at dead trees, it's freezing cold, and you're paying $15,000, $16,000 in property taxes, and you're not getting that much square footage, not much bang for your buck. So I just really could just never justify, you know, spending any money in New York. Yeah, so the property taxes in New York are around like, I don't know, you know, 2.5% on a property, meaning if the property is worth $600K, you're probably spending around like, you know, $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 in taxes. Down here in Florida, it's about, you know, 1.4%, 1.3% in property taxes. So you'll definitely save a lot of money here on property taxes. The other thing here in Florida is that we have no state income tax. In New York, that could be, you know, 5% up to 10% and even higher. In Florida, there is no state income tax. The only thing that starts to get a little pricey here is homeowners insurance in Florida. But my advice to you, aim for a house that has concrete block construction, stay away from wood frame, and make sure you get a wind mitigation done in your house to make sure that you have accurate and up-to-date storm protection for your house. You know, that's like, you know, garage doors, front doors, impact windows, and that would definitely take down the insurance price. Obviously, coming from New York, a lot of things that people told me about the food here weren't true. What does everybody say? There's nothing like a New York pizza, right? Or, oh my God, there's something wrong with the water in Florida and you can never get a New York bagel, right? Let me tell you, that is completely wrong, okay? There is a restaurant here called Pizza Time in Coral Springs, Florida. It is top-notch Italian food. I went to another place in Hollywood, Florida by Young Circle. I forgot the name of it. It was a newer Italian restaurant. Top-notch Italian food. The sauce is to die for. The pizza here, if you go to the right spot, it's to die for. I will say, it's harder to find a good pizza place here, but once you find your pizza place, it's phenomenal food. I bet you if I put a New York pizza in front of you and a slice of a Fort Lauderdale, South Florida pizza in front of you, you cannot tell the difference. A lot of people from Brooklyn, Queens, they move down here to South Florida and Fort Lauderdale, so what do? They bring their recipes with them.
Come on, nobody's gonna be able to bite. Come on.
You know, so the pizza's good here, the heroes, the bagels here are fantastic. There's New York food here and it tastes just as good. If not, I would argue it tastes better. But I may be a little subjective. Also, what's very cool here is that there's food from all around the world here. I mean, you'll see like Brazilian steakhouses, you'll see Jamaican food, obviously Italian food, Mexican food, Venezuelan food, food from Argentina, Haitian food, Indian food, Cuban food, amazing Chinese food, amazing Japanese food, sushi. I mean, you name it. There are so many food options here. That makes it very interesting. And not only are there many options, the food is fantastic. Now, the opportunity here in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area, is really exceptional, right? I mean, you have a lot of businesses moving from New York to Florida. You have a lot of people moving from New York to Florida. Not only that, you have people moving here from all around the world. I mean, if I told you some of the people I ran into, you wouldn't believe me, right? I mean, the other day I was in a cigar lounge at the Hollywood brand new guitar Hard Rock Casino, and if you guys know, the NFL player Ray Lewis, Hall of Famer, was sitting one chair away from me. I mean, that's what you get down here. You run into celebrities, you run into movers and shakers. People are driving Bentleys, Rolls Royces, Audi R8s, McLarens, right? You're around the money. There's a lot of opportunity here, and if you are on the younger side, there's just tremendous upside here. So my girlfriend on the weekends works a restaurant job, and it was about 11 o'clock at night, and there's 3 guys sitting down at a table, and 2 guys go up to my girlfriend and they say, "Hey, listen, I don't know if you know this, but the guy at the table is a billionaire." And she goes, "What? Really?" Because the guy is dressed like he's homeless, right? So it turns out that this guy was the #1 supplier of pickles for McDonald's in all of Australia, right? That's the type of things you get down here. You run into these people, this guy knows this guy's aunt or uncle started this, that's what it's like living here. You're just running into opportunity left and right. So, everything is alive here. So if you're trying to restart your life at 40, 50, or you're a younger guy just trying to get started, or, if you don't want to relax yet, you want to keep pushing forward, this is really the place to be for opportunity. Another little tidbit here is that service businesses tend to do very well here. Whether, pool service or roof cleaning service, window cleaning service, anything like that does very well here because there's a lot of people here who just will throw money at you and they'll pay for services, right? So if you have any sort of service business and you do what you say you're going to do, you're honest, respectful, and totally upfront, you will do extremely well here in Florida. And lastly, let's talk about the people. So South Florida, Fort Lauderdale gets a stigma that people are very mean here, right? But I'm gonna challenge that. If you're from New York, this is nothing. So the people here, I've met some of the nicest people in the world. I've met some of my best friends here who take me out to dinner. Amazing clients I've met here who treat me like gold. I treat them like gold. There's really amazing people here and super nice. And there's people from all around the world. I mean, I've met people from Argentina, Venezuela, Mexico, Haiti, Jamaica, India, South Africa, Australia, right? There are just people everywhere here, and it is very cool to see a lot of cultures mixed together. It's kind of like that New York City attitude and vibe here. To wrap it up, South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area, it's really what you make of it. If you want to come down here and totally retire, totally relax, there's a spot for you. You can go by in a 55 and over community and live an amazing life off your pension or anything like that. If you want to come down here and you want to continue to hustle and continue to, make more money and really expand your business, there's a spot for you here. If you want to come down here and just, stay in the middle class, upper middle class, get by, do what you have to do, go home to your family, there's a spot for you here. There is a spot for everybody here. South Florida and Fort Lauderdale is whatever you make it. It's whatever you want it to be. So now the #1 thing, do I regret being here in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale? Absolutely not. There is nothing I regret. I am so happy I made the move, so happy I made the plunge to come down here, and I hope you can do the same. This is Tyler P., real estate agent here, servicing Fort Lauderdale and surrounding cities. We are putting out new videos every single week. If you want to know exactly what it is like to live down here in Fort Lauderdale and the surrounding cities, stay tuned for the video next week, and thank you for watching.